Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. This is my question and answer session for March 2022. So if you want to see my answers to your questions, please stay tuned. I am very excited that I get to share my answers to some of your questions. Thank you so much to everybody who has left a question on any of my videos over the past month. It's already a little bit into April, so I'm a tad bit late on this video. What I went ahead and did is looked at any questions from the last one that I covered at the end of February to now. So if you asked it even at the beginning of April, I'm going to try to answer it here in this video. If you have additional questions that you have for me after you've seen this video, go ahead and leave them in the comments of any video, including this one, and I will answer you both in the under the question itself and in a separate video. I am still in the process of answering some of your other questions in the comments of my videos, so please be patient, but I am going to answer them here on the video, so hopefully you'll get to see it and see your answers, or see my answers to the questions that you have. Now, I'm really thankful because we have several new people in the community now. The subscriber numbers are going up. So if you hear a repeat question, no worries, it doesn't bother me. I'm excited about it because it means that more people are coming into this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. There are about 13 or 14 questions. I'm going to answer them as quickly as possible, but hopefully as thoroughly as possible. So here we go. Question 1. This question is about the Trip Around the World quilt. There are 2 questions that I'm going to answer in one. I'm very excited about making this quilt because I've never made a quilt like it. There is already a video there are actually 2 videos about this quilt. There's like a preview where I show you my fabrics, and then there's a video where I made my first strip set. And I'm gonna link those in the description box so you can go ahead and check that out. But I also made a practice block, and I'm gonna share it on Whip It Wednesday, but I'm gonna share it here too so that you can see it. This is my practice block for the Trip Around the World. I'm gonna put it right here. And the reason that I made a practice block is because I want to make it live on YouTube with you guys. And the plan is to do that this Sunday, April 10th at 4:00 p.m. Eastern time. So I would love it if you could join me live at that time on YouTube. I am also going to have a practice live session on this Wednesday. I'm not sure what time, sometime in the middle of the day though. So hopefully you can join me for that as well. I would love to be on live with you. I do need to practice because I've never been live before on YouTube, but I'm excited to see how it works out. Hopefully things will go well. So we're going to be making this block with some of the strip sets that I've created. Where are my strip sets? Because the other question is, how many strip sets are we going to need total for this quilt? And my plan is that we're going to need 7 strip sets, and from each set, well, from the set that I already cut to make this block, I was able to get enough sets for 2 blocks and then had 2 extra strips left over. So what I'm thinking is that each block or each strip set is going to give us 2 blocks, and then with those 2 strip sets or 2 pieces that are left over, we can get 2 additional blocks. So it'll be a total of 16 blocks. And like I said, this is the first block. The 15th and 16th blocks are going to be Scrappy and use all the strip sets. So I'm excited to see how that works. And just quick reminders, the plan is to go live to make this block on this Sunday, April 10th, and with a practice session this Wednesday. I'm a little bit nervous, but also excited. So I can't wait to see you. Hopefully you'll be able to join me live on YouTube. Question 2 is about a new sewing machine. Someone asked if I was looking to get a new sewing machine, what would I get? And the completely honest answer is I have no idea. I am not currently in the market for a sewing machine. It probably wouldn't hurt to have one. I'm just not looking right now. So I don't even know what I would get. I think that my course of attack would be to try out several different brands and see which one fit me the best and fit my budget the best. But like right now, I'm just not even looking. I have so many other things on my plate that I'm not looking for a new machine. Plus the machines that I have, my Kenmore here, that's like my workhorse, and my Singer over there that I'm using for my quilting, they seem to do what I need them to do. So I'm not currently in the market for a new machine. But thank you for that question. Question 3 is about my weight loss. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that over the last year and a half or so, I've lost about 70 pounds from November 2020 until now. I will put the before and after picture here, or before and current picture, which is actually from October. But you can see it right here too. So that you can see kind of a comparison of what I used to look like versus what I look like now. I switched to a low carb, high fat lifestyle, and that has really changed my weight significantly. And I have more energy. I feel a lot better. And I was like pre-diabetic, and now that is no longer an issue. So that takes care of the question about my weight loss. Thank you so much for those of you who have commented about it. I appreciate your kind words. Question 4 is about the long arm. Now I have, there's a couple questions about the long arm, and I'll answer all of them here. I recently purchased a Quilting hobby quilter from Facebook Marketplace. From my local area, I had to go drive about an hour to go and pick it up, but it is a really nice machine. It was kept in good condition and serviced and stuff, so it's in good shape. So the question that I got what kind of machine it is, and it's a Quilting hobby quilter. And I think I'll put a picture of it here so that you can see it, but I did make a couple videos about it as well. And the question was, did I get a good deal on Facebook Marketplace? Absolutely I did. I'm very blessed to have found that person, and it seemed like the machine was just waiting for me to come along and purchase it. So I'm really grateful for that. Really happy about the fact that I was able to get it. The other question was, what is the biggest learning curve for the new machine? And really, my main issue with the machine so far is that I hadn't been taking the time to actually learn it. So what I've decided to do was in my weekly schedule, I have a long arm day. So I have time that I'm devoting just to working with the long arm to learn how it works. And right now I've had 2 long arm days. I did one like the Saturday before last, and then I did one yesterday on Sunday. And the main issue that I'm having right now is with my tension. I'm home this week for spring break, so my plan is to reach out to Quilting and see if they have some specific suggestions that I can try right now. I've been adjusting the tension knob on the machine. Sometimes it works, a lot of times it doesn't work, but I think that I just need more time with it. So I'm going to keep working with it and learning and reaching out. Also, I'm going to go to YouTube University, which is apparently a place where you can go to learn lots of new skills. So I'm going to learn more about my long arm through YouTube, and I'm really excited that I can see it in other people's videos and to hopefully get some information about the tension on my machine. But I am enjoying it. It is a lot of fun. I just hope to make something that I can enter into a quilt show, or that I can be more proud of the way it looks. Okay, so that's the biggest learning curve. She also asked, what do I wish that I had known before purchasing it? I don't know. I feel like I made a pretty informed purchase with this, and I feel like I got a lot of bonus information and materials with it, so I wouldn't change any of that. The only thing is that I sort of wish I could take some long arm lessons. So like I I feel like I would do really well if I had a person here who could talk me through things and you know, be here with me to look at the machine as I'm stitching with it, to give me some one-on-one pointers. So I don't know how that can happen, but I am gonna look into that and see, because I think there are some other quilters around me who have long arms who can perhaps guide me in the right direction. So I'll be researching in my local area as well, hopefully to get some help. All right, so the next question was about the quilt as you go method and what I used to do the quilting. The quilt is it's a string quilt that I made for my niece. If I can find a picture, I will put it here in the video, but I will link that. There are 2 videos about that quilt. I'll link those in the description so that you can go back and check those out. And there actually is a 3rd video about quilt as you go, where I'm working on another huge quilt. So maybe I'll link all 3 of those so that you can check those out. And the questions were, did I use my domestic sewing machine to quilt that quilt? And the answer is yes, I did. And then she asked what sewing machine foot did I use? And I used my 1/4 inch foot to quilt all of that. So again, you can check out those videos to get more information about quilt as you go. That was really a fun quilt to make, and it was strings and quilt as you go, which is like very cool, very fun to do both of those things. The next question is about a Scrappy quilt back that I made for the Dresden plate quilt. And I'm going to, let's see, if I can find a picture of that quilt back, again, I'll put it here in the video, and I'll link the actual video in the description. For that video, I actually just took scraps and made an entire quilt back with it, and I had to go back and look at the video because of the questions she asked. Because in that quilt, there are some skinny strips that I have cut into rectangles to match 10 inches with the rest of the sashing or the rows. And so she asked how I did that. So I'm gonna grab some strings out of here. These are just my extra strings. I'm going to attempt to show how I did this. Let me see if I can zoom out. Let's see. Oh, that's zooming in. Okay. All right, I couldn't zoom out, but I'm gonna put it on the table here so that you can see it, hopefully. All right, so what I did was I took several skinny strips and I sewed them together. And I think what I was trying to do in that video is make them about the same length. So here, they're at different lengths, but hopefully you'll get the gist. So I took several of these and I wanted to at least get a reasonable length. So I think I was working towards 10 inches this way. Okay, and then so I'm just gonna add a few more strips here that are hopefully close to the size. This one's not even close, but you'll get the idea. Okay, and then, so I'll grab one more here. All right, so let's just say that this is 10 inches once they're all stitched together. And from here, I would just have squared them off. So this would have been the 10 inches. And then I squared them off to various widths. So maybe like a 5-inch width, maybe like a 6-inch width, and just stitched it along with all the other pieces so that it matched the 10-inch height, but there would be different widths to, depending on, you know, whatever I was looking for. That quilt is actually a couple years old. So, I'm not sure exactly what I was thinking, but I assume that that's the basic gist of it, just to get those strips, the strip sets wide enough, and then cut the rectangles from the strip sets. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Now for the next part of the video, let me see. The next part is about these foundations. So I had 2 questions about the paper foundations that I'm using for my string quilts, and also the Pellon paper that I'm using for my, just like my scrappy strings, I guess I could call it. And they asked why we need a foundation. So I want to go over that just a little bit. One main reason that I use a foundation for both of those techniques is for the size. So in this case, the size is 8 inches, and this is a string block for my heartstrings quilt that's upstairs. Okay, both of these are. And so the main reason that I'm using the foundation is for the size, because I want to make sure that as I'm creating the block, that the pieces are at least large enough to cover the area they need to cover so that I can reach my desired size. And it's the same thing on the Pellon paper. The strips are skinnier, they're about 5 inches, but I want to make sure that the pieces that I'm sewing onto them are already at that 5-inch mark or a little bit bigger, so that as I sew them, I know that I can get the size that I need. Another reason is it sort of serves as a pattern. So when all the pieces are sewn on, I have kind of a pattern to cut to, so I don't have to be concerned about, for example, sewing lots of strips together and then having to cut squares out of those strip sets. Instead, I already have the pattern here. And it's the same thing on the Pellon. The pattern is just cutting along the sides, basically cutting along the sides of the paper. This is a fun, easy way to sew, to start on a foundation, and really for a beginner to use a foundation to sew along, it is really great. It's ideal. So, you know, those are just 2 reasons that I use for the Pellon paper. Someone asked if, for the heartstrings quilt, if the paper was easy to take off. And I anticipate that it will be easy to take off, but I haven't taken it off yet. I'm not going to start taking these pieces off until they're at least between some layers of fabric. They're at least stitched all the way around. So like for this block, I probably wouldn't take the paper off until I had all of the sides sewn around. So another block here, 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 and here. And then actually after I get the heartstrings quilt stitched, I'm gonna do a stay stitch all around the edge of it before I take any of that paper off. So that is still in the works, still looking at getting that together so that I can start taking the paper off, but it's not even close yet because I haven't sewn that together. I think there was another question about the heartstrings quilt. So I'm gonna put a picture of that quilt here. I'm very excited about that. That's my current UFO that I'm working on. And the question was, do I have enough blocks? Or do I need more to sew it? I actually have all the blocks and I'm ready to sew it together. I am kind of, that's kind of a reward for me to, because I haven't started, but I have some other things I need to do first. So the heartstrings quilt, that's like my reward for getting all my other work done. So hopefully I can start sewing it together in the next day or so. I had some questions about like my basic technique for sewing. I was asked if I wash my fabrics before I cut them. Typically, I do not wash my fabrics before. I was asked if I use starch or any kind of like heavy starch or light starch or no starch. And I currently don't use starch on any of my quilts or any of my fabric before I sew it. I know that that it could be good to use, and I did see a video where they said for that particular block it was good to use starch because of the intricacies of it, but I have not used starch on any of my fabric yet. I was asked about stabilizer for Fifi. This is Fifi Fox. I worked on this fox a while ago. I got the pattern from Etsy, and there are 2 videos about this fox. I will link them in the description so that you can go back and check those out if you want to. As you can see, Fifi is still unstuffed. I should get to that at some point, but I'm not there yet. And the question was, did I stabilize the fabrics before I started Fifi? And the answer is yes. I used the Pellon SK135, which is my stabilizer of choice for my stuffed animals and my memory quilts. So you know, that's what I use to do all my stabilizing right now. And then I use the paper as the as a foundation for my Scrappy strips. Okay, let's see. Someone asked about the quilt that I'm currently finishing, my commission quilt, if it's a quilt as you go. No, it is not a quilt as you go. I was given an entire quilt top, and they bought the backing fabric as well. So I'm finishing that quilt out, not as a quilt as you go, but I'm actually quilting the entire thing myself on my domestic machine. I've made good progress on it. My goal is to have it finished this week while I'm at home, and then get it out to them as soon as possible. Let's see. The next question is about the way I make my videos. Someone suggested that I lower the music. Like, for example, in my last video for my Starlight Star Bright, the music was too loud. She said when I, from when I was speaking to when I would fast forward the video and put music behind it. So that is definitely something I'm looking at for the next video. Thank you so much for that suggestion. I will lower the music. If you had if anybody else has had issues with that, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how significant it was, but I will look at lowering that for the next videos. The last question I have is something that I don't have a lot of expertise in. So if you have expertise about this, or you can answer this question, go ahead and answer it in the comments below. I'm going to do the best I can, but I don't know. So someone said that they were cutting some strips and with the rotary cutter and on their mat, and the strips came out kind of jagged. And then she said that she changed the blade and they were still jagged. And she asked if I felt like she needed a new mat. And I'm really not an expert on this kind of thing. But I know that I feel like a new mat could solve the problem. Another thing that I would suggest is when you have if you're using your long ruler, that you put a weight at the other end of that ruler so that as you cut, that can hold the fabric a little bit more steady. Maybe that'll help. And then if you look into getting a new mat, get one that's self-healing or get a double-sided. I have 2 Fiskars mats that are double-sided, and I feel like that helps my cuts to stay nice. And then even if I don't, like if for some reason I'm like, something's not right with these cuts, I can flip over the mat and it usually solves the problem. So again, if you have answers to that question, leave them in the comments. Let's help her out. I would really appreciate it. So that takes care of all of my Q&A for March, even though we're a little bit into April now. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for staying to the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye!